You make my high come down. Ooh, you make my high come down. Always tripping when you come around. Never have to cut you out like right now. You see, I don't have to drive me. You can say that for your mama. Maybe you should smoke some. Me try the marijuana. I was never you good. The vibe was straight. Showed you a couple of things and they feel strange. I treated you right. Everything was a gift from a time to your bag and the color on your lip.
Welcome to Seahawks Man to Man podcast, powered by Blue Wire. Shout out to the new company. My name is Michael-Shawn and Christopher. You can follow me on whatever Elon Musk is calling that app these days. My ad name has not changed. It's also bang right there under my finger. Shout out to everyone who is watching or listening via our YouTube channel. Seahawks Man to Man is the name of the channel. That is Seahawks Man, the number 2 man. Same thing on our Instagram and our TikTok. Seahawks Man, the number 2 man. Make sure you go like, follow, comment, rate, review, subscribe, reshare, repost, everything on all those platforms. It means a lot. Thank you so much in advance. Chris, go ahead and talk to him.
What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Christopher Kidd. You can follow me on Blue Sky, Twitter at CKIDD206, and that's CKID206.
All right, one big thing is back for our midweek episode. Also, on the back half of this show, we're going to talk to the homie Alec Lewis, covers the Vikings for The Athletic, does a great job. They got some things going on over there in Minnesota. Kind of interesting, actually, I think. So that'll be on the back half of the show. Before that, you know, Chris and I do the same thing every week. We pour over the film, take notes, laugh at some plays here and there, although not this week, at least not yet. Give you our takes. Our one big thing from rewatching the film. So this week it's the Seahawks Week 12 win over the Titans, 30-24. Seahawks proved to 8-3. Yada yada yada. Right behind the Rams in the NFC West. Because the Seahawks won, we're going to continue the tradition, unofficial tradition, air quotes there, of Chris kicking us off. So, sir, what is your one big thing after rewatching Seahawks Titans?
One big thing goes to the Seahawks defensive line, more so the interior, but as a whole, because throughout the season, they have been dominant, whether it's in the pass rush or stopping the run. And when I went back and watched the film, yes, it was a game that the Seahawks felt that it shouldn't have been that close. But one thing that I noticed with that D-line is when it comes down to 4th and 1, 3rd and 1, those guys get after it. They do a really good job of just playing physical football and dominating their matchups in that area. And when you think of an elite defensive line unit, there's probably a couple of things that stand out. One thing that I think of is consistent backfield disruption. So I use Leonard Williams as an example. He is so quick. I get why they call him Big Cat, because when he beats an offensive lineman, whether it's a guard, a center, a left tackle, because Mike McDonald moves him all over the defense, he can beat you with power, or if he wants to be smooth and agile, he uses his speed and quickness, and there's just times he makes left tackles or anybody on the offensive line look silly, just swims by and is sitting there ready for a running back to meet him, or he attacks the running back. He is just so good at doing that. And not to mention, when you look at the Seahawks defensive line, the depth and rotation that they have. I'm sure a lot of guys probably don't even know who number 95 is for the Seahawks, but that's Brandon Peely. Also, number, I want to say 92. Yeah, Quentin Bohanna, another guy that plays a little D tackle. Sometimes they move them all around, but these guys come in the rotation and they play high quality football. And when watching the tape, you see it. Now, granted, it is a team that's not as good, but it's good to get those reps in, because you know what that does? That instills belief in those players and in the teammates. When they're in the game, they know that Brandon Peely is going to do his job. Quentin Bohanna is going to do his job. And that just carries so much weight, because maybe someone goes down with an injury. You never know, knock on wood. But those guys will be able to step up. And then also the discipline, having gap integrity, not trying to do everybody else's job. I think, Mike, you might have mentioned that maybe last year when Leonard Williams talked about, oh yeah, it was after that Falcons game, if I'm not mistaken. They talked about sometimes they were just doing too much in that game early in the first half, which was creating running lanes for what's his name? Brian Robinson and not Brian Robinson, Bijan, excuse me.
Oh,
Bijan
last year's
Robert.
last year's Falcons
Yes,
game. Yeah, okay, I got you.
yes.
I'm with you.
They were talking about the gap integrity and just doing their part, not trying to do everybody else's job. And in that second half, they shut it down. They did a really good job of just doing their job, getting in the hole, setting strong edges, penetrate without losing lane discipline, and tackling well, minimizing those yards after contact. And you also got to look at the scheme fit and the versatility of some of those guys I mentioned, whether it's 3 technique, 5 technique. Basically, everybody on the Seahawks D line, when they're out there, Mike Macdonald has confidence that he can put them anywhere. And you see that in certain instances throughout the game. So that's just one thing. Those are a few things that I look at or I think about when it comes to having an elite defensive line. And there were some plays in the game against the Titans where they showcased it. If you look at their one that stood out to me was in the first quarter, about 8 minutes, 57 seconds left, 3rd and 1. The Seahawks, they bring out their heavy boys. You got Byron Murphy, number 91. He's lined up right outside. I want to right off of the center to the right. And then you have Leonard Williams out there. You got Quentin Bohanna, DeMarcus Lawrence, Uchenna Nwosu, Derek Carr. You got a little speed as well. And it's a 3rd and 1. So it's a more than likely they're going to try to run the football. And the Seahawks, they do a phenomenal job of just getting instant pressure. Leo, using his quickness, makes the left tackle look so bad. He just swims right by him. And the D line up front, they do a really good job of standing their ground and not getting pushed back. Because when you get pushed back, what does that do? That creates lanes and there's just room for you to run. But the Seahawks do a good job of getting off the football and nobody moves. So it ends up being a very small gain, if anything, a no gain. So those are just little instances where I'm thinking, wow, this defense, and my apologies, it was a 4th and 1. So it's go 30. Yeah, it was 31 in the fourth quarter. My apologies. 31 in the fourth quarter from the Seattle 45. So this is a big play here. Seahawks leading 30-17, but this defense is just so good at getting penetration. And it was actually Leonard Williams who swims through, beats the center, and is able to get in the backfield. And you just see how this defense does it throughout the season. This isn't their first time doing it. They've been doing this all season long, which is why their run numbers are so good against teams that are trying to run the football on them. And I think I talked about it with Mike. I was just like, I don't understand why teams even try to run it on 3rd and 1. Like you're probably better off doing a play action pass and trying to find your tight end beating Uchenna Nwosu on a pass. Like that's something that teams should probably just start doing because they've been doing it for the last 12 weeks. 3rd and 1, you want to run it, it doesn't work. 4th and 1, you want to try to run it again, it doesn't work. The Seahawks have been phenomenal with those type of stands where you're not going to have success. I get that you think, oh, we can be tougher than these guys, we can prove something, but man, they got some dogs up front, and they're led by Leo. And then you bring in someone like DeMarcus Lawrence, who is just as strong and just as crazy and has no problem with handling tight ends and beating a guard or a center. So these dudes just really take it. They have that thing called pride where it's like, oh, you want to try it again? You want to try to run this football up the middle of the field against this team, against my dogs, against these guys that we believe in. And it does not work. It does not work. And just watching the tape and seeing these guys execute, getting turnovers on downs, forcing punts, it's just really impressive stuff to see. And as I mentioned, this isn't their first stint. They've been doing it all season, but I just thought, you know what, why not show the Fat Men some love? Because they really are making teams one-dimensional in a sense that they don't even want to throw the ball. They rather just try to run it still, which the Seahawks have proven, I think, in 12 weeks that they have shut that down. So I'm curious to see when they face the Minnesota Vikings, when it's 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, will they run a play action or will they really be stubborn and try to run it on this front that has been so good throughout the season? I'll be honest, if I'm an OC and I go out there with my heavy personnel and I've watched the tape and I've seen how dominant Leo and all those other guys I've mentioned have been, I'm probably thinking, hey, kill. Let's see if we get a play action. Let's see if we can do that. Because for the most part, if I'm running through the Rolodex of all the plays in my head, when there's been play action, it's been successful. Now, whether or not a player catches it, that's a whole other thing. Because in the Titans game, they actually did a play action on Uchenna Nwosu, who was covering the tight end. The tight end just dropped it, number 84. Good call, great play call. Uchenna did a really good job on coverage. That's not a strength. You would obviously want him going towards the quarterback, not away. But in that scenario, He's there. The tight end just has to catch the football. And I think teams should probably do that. And I know it's a Seahawks man-to-man podcast. So, Chris, why are you giving the teams, why are you telling them what they should do and what they should not do? Because I'm tired of watching them just get beat up on 3rd and 1 and 4th one. It doesn't make sense. It's like banging your head against the wall. What do you expect to happen? Concussion, you're going to be bleeding, all that other bad stuff. So maybe a team will try that. But my goodness, they're just so phenomenal up front. Just going back and watching some other plays. Let's see. I got another one. What we got? 3rd and 1. This is in the, it's in the 4th quarter, 12 minutes left. And you just, my goodness, stonewall. Where are you going? What do you guys have in mind? What do you think you're going to get out of this? Brandon Peely, Drake Thomas, even the linebackers are getting some love in there. So my one big thing was just watching the D-line and how they handle those short yardage situations. It will be interesting to see. I kind of wish they played the Eagles in the regular season because I would love to see how they would try to stop the tush push. I'm guessing, Mike, you've probably seen it in practice, how they go up against one another when they do the tush push, or I should say the Barner push, the Barner tush, whatever you want to call it. But that would be my one thing. Like, I think that's one team that could challenge them in a short yardage situation because they have such a cheat code play that works 85% of the time. But if you're going to sit back there and try to hand it off to a running back or a fullback, it's not going to work. I think I have 12 weeks of proof that, you're better off just trying to do a play action pass and hoping your guy makes the play and catches it and doesn't get sacked. That's what you're hoping for because, my gosh, these dudes up front, they're not giving up much. And I know Mike, of course, the stat nerd that he is, on the positive note, he probably has some stats to support this claim that I'm making based off just watching the film and seeing how dominant they've been through 12 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I'm a proud stat nerd. I love it. I want people to reimagine what a nerd is, what it looks like. Because you hear nerd and you're like thinking big glasses, like guy in his mom's basement. It's like, nope, I own this basement. I can see very well. I'm not a nerd. And so yes, I got you. Because you're right, their front is unbelievable. So I got you. Here we go. So the Seahawks have actually, I looked this up. So on 3rd and 4th and 1, so 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1 on running back carry. So that doesn't include QB sneaks or any like trickery with like a receiver running the ball. They've actually faced the highest amount of carries in the league, so 23. So to your point about why you're tired of seeing it, because you're seeing it more than any team in the league is seeing it. That's why. They've faced more 3rd and 4th and 1 runs to running backs than anyone in the league. Now it's 23. So it's not a ton, but for instance, the Jags have only faced 5 of those. The Texans have only faced 5 as well. Same with the Broncos. So there are some teams who are just not seeing that very often. Now, the Seahawks also give up the largest number of yards in those situations, 125 yards. There are 2 runs kind of doing the heavy lifting there. It is a 55-yard run by DeMarcado, I think. And then Kyron Williams had like a 34-yarder, something like that. So that's like 89 yards on 2 of those. So that's why you get that number. I'm bringing up how many yards they've given up. So this is where it supports what you're talking about, Chris. There's their success rate on these runs, despite facing the most, by the way, and giving up the most yards. The success rate is 4th in the league in those situations. So yes, they're seeing them a lot, stopping them very often. And I give you one more. So that's their success rate. Their rush EPA on this, number 1 in the league. Number 1 in the league. So
Film don't lie, ladies and gentlemen.
Bingo. Film first, stats to confirm is probably the best way to go about kind of analyzing this game. But yes, to back up everything you're talking about, they should be at this point deterring teams from trying.
And for whatever reason, teams are like 3rd and 1. Hey, line it up, big boys, do your job, huh? Do you not see who's on that D line? You think I don't get it. I don't. And the crazy thing is, I know they got the film too. They watch the same thing me and you watching. And they got other coaches and they're talking like, hey, maybe we should avoid number 99. So you know what we could do? Play action. You know what, Phil? Screw that. We'll block number 99's ass. We'll double him. Doesn't matter. Let's double Byron. He gets on his knee and bends through and is able to break through a double team and get a tackle for loss. It's great to see. It's fun. But at what point do you just say, you know what? They got our number there. Let's try a play action pass. See if we can catch him slipping. Nope.
Yeah, it's crazy. They've also given up the second most first downs in those situations. So they've given up stuff
Oh
But
yeah, they
in
have
terms of
absolutely.
stopping people, which is more like ultimately the goal, particularly on 4th and 1, you get the ball. 4th and 1 stop is a turnover, in essence. So, yeah, those efficiency numbers are very impressive there. Like, yeah, the overall yardage is probably way more than Mike McDonald would like, but again, there's 2 runs doing the heavy lifting on that, and they've only given up 1 touchdown in those situations, and it just happened against the Rams, the Kyron Williams run on 4th and 1, when they didn't have the big boys in, spread them out. Which that may be what we see teams do. Is like, you know what? Here's 10 personnel, ain't even no tight ends on the field, and then they run it anyway to
Yeah.
get the lighter box. We'll see. So, yeah, very good film matching the numbers there. And sometimes that it adds up, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'm like, wow, these guys suck at play action. And I go look, and they're the number 1 team. Or sometimes you look and be like, man, they can't cover tight ends. You go look, oh, Seahawks are giving up the most yards to tight ends in the league.
Shocker.
I think that was last year. That was I think that was the case for a little bit. So film, numbers, they meet. You can be a nerd on film and nerds with the numbers. All right. So my one big thing after watching the game, watching the offense in particular, was the play designing and game planning by Klint Kubiak, and I should say featuring Jake Peets, their passing game coordinator. Because I'm sure people who don't watch the Seahawks, even if you do watch them every week, if you just like peep in every other week or something like that, you're probably wondering, why are teams just not doubling Jackson Smith and Jigba every time it's an obvious passing down? Like, how does he get? Because you look at Jackson's highlights, there's a couple that he catches in traffic, but he's open most of his explosive plays, and he's usually not like burning a safety in a corner at the same time. I think he did that against the Saints once, and maybe against the Bucks as well. But by and large, he gets a lot of single coverage. He's open quite a bit. He has a lot of opportunities for yak. And if I didn't watch the Seahawks every week and I was just looking at the numbers, like, how the hell is this happening? What are teams doing? And Kubiak is doing a really good job. There's 2 things happening here largely to answer that question. Like, why are teams, like, how is this happening without Jax being doubled all the time? One, teams are, for the most part, doing whatever their thing is. Like, if they're a quarters team, if they're whatever their rules are, if they're a 2 high team, if they're like a multiple team, they're just doing their stuff against the Seahawks for the most part, with a few exceptions, which is, I can understand to a little bit, like to a certain extent. You don't want to just change everything just because you're playing the Seahawks. However, it's not working. That's the thing. Like, teams they're bracketing him sometimes. Like, for example, in the first 3rd down of the game, you doubled him. It was like the corner's playing off and we're rotating the safety over there, which is why he checked it down to AJ Barner for a first down. The next play the next 3rd down, where Sam almost threw a pick on the out route to Ken, he's doubled again. I was writing that down on my notes. I'm like, oh, this is great. And then they just stopped doubling him. And then he started going off. I was like, wait, what is going on over there? And that's been happening pretty much every week, but it really stood out in this game because also on top of that, so here's a second thing that's happening, and it happened in this game as well. Klint has done a good job self-scouting and then adjusting. Here's what I mean by that. So let's use the 56-yard reception as an example, right? If you guys watch the Seahawks games, what you'll see is, and people who are seeing me visually on YouTube can see this, you'll see Sam sometimes with snap, he'll tap his index finger to his temple, and everyone else will do the same. Either they're keeping something the same or they're changing something. Early on, I could tell on film, I don't know if we ever mentioned this on the pod, but you could almost see that anytime he did that and they were in single high, the defense they were throwing it. And if they did that to confirm maybe that they were getting too high, they were running it. And I'm sure the other teams were like, oh, okay, so if we alert this, we can basically they were like, we can manipulate what they're going to do. Because those are probably instances, I would guess, that they have 2 plays called. They get single high, we throw it. They get we get too high, they run it. That general rule is what it looks like they were doing. And then sometimes what was happening on film was anytime they motioned the tight end or the fullback, by the time they got to wherever they were motioning to, the ball would snap. And so teams were able to kind of time up their safety rotation so you could show too high, but it's like, oh, okay, if AJ Barner creeps over here, by the time he gets there, let's just rotate our safety down to the strong side, and then we can get a TFL. That was happening on a lot of Zach's runs, unfortunately for Zach. And it actually happened quite a bit in that Niners game. The Niners were very prepared for all of this stuff, which makes sense because they run the same scheme. Then you could see slowly Klint was like, okay, here's how we fix that. So again, going back to the 56-yarder, they get in. Let me pull up my notes here. So they get, this is really my favorite play of the game, really, it looks like. So they get under center. This is the first play of the second half. They get under center, 12 personnel. They motion Caller up to AJ Barner's side. So it looks like, okay, and they get too high, look. When they motion Caller up, the safety to Kupp and Jackson's side rotates down. Timing up probably what they were showing on film. Okay, once he gets over there, the ball snap, right? So now we're loading the box because they're under center, heavy personnel, quote unquote heavy, because they got 2 tight ends. They're rotating the tight end like they usually do. Here comes a run. Boom. When Nick gets there, ball's not snapped. What does Sam do? Touch his head. Look to everybody else like, all right, I don't know enough to say what this alert particularly was on this snap. My guess would be they are anticipating run because they're now rotated to a loaded box. Cool. They also had a 5-man front there too. So this is now they rotated to a run look. What do the Seahawks have? Now we got a single high beater. Now we're going to play action, run jacks across the formation, and he's open, and he's one-on-one with the safety. His name was Kevin Winston Jr. He's one-on-one with the safety, beats him for 56 yards. And that, I think, without hearing from Kubiak and hearing from the quarterbacks on the schematics, my guess would be that's a self-scout thing. It's like, okay, cool. Teams know this is how we've operated before. All right, here's how we're going to adjust to their adjustment and get a one-on-one with our best player for an explosive. Like it was perfect. And Klint did a lot of that. Like he was like, all right, here's what their rules are going to be. Let's break them, assuming that they're disciplined. Because like when me and Chris we play flag football. If we know, okay, the ball might be coming here, Chris would be like, Mike, just cheat over there. Don't matter. Just cheat. Just go. It don't matter. Break your deep third, break your safety rules, break your whatever. We know the ball's going over here. So just cheat, right? Teams can do that, but teams generally are just doing what their rules are, which is fine. That's defense, discipline. But here's an example of where that's like foolish sometimes. Like JSN's second touchdown, for instance, they kind of like hold they're in single high, and they kind of hold the safety with an over route by Cody White. There's only 2 routes on this play, I believe, and they're both from the same side of the field too. So you got the over route from Cody, and then you kind of got like what would you call that? Because like a skinny post a little bit where he fakes the corner. Yeah, so you get like a little skinny post, and he burns number 35 real bad, and catches a touchdown. I was wondering on that play, I was like, where's the safety? And the safety, because you're supposed to man the middle of the field, is held by Cody White running an over route. I have a ton of respect for Cody White. I do. I really do. However, if I was playing the Seahawks, you're going to have to show me you're going to throw that ball to Cody and not Jax. Like, you're just going to have to before I just respect it. Because they haven't done it, right? I think Cody has like 1 or 2 catches. They ain't done it. You got to show me. Because the last thing I want is to get beat by Jax. To get beat by the dude we've been practicing for all week. And that's exactly what Kubiak is for, the decision he is forcing them to make. Oh, you want to play your rules? Cool. We got a coverage beater for what you got. Either your safety's going to break his rules or we're going to break you. And they're getting broken every week. It's really impressive, actually, to see how teams have decided to do that, because Klint's taking good advantage. And I shouted out Jake Peets, their pass game coordinator, because I imagine he has something to do with this. It's in his job title. That would be my guess. There was actually a really cool one. I'm sure some people are probably wondering why they haven't got Rashid Shaheed involved. It was a really good play, and you guys will probably remember it. It ends up being Sam overthrowing AJ Barner to the sideline. And he's open too on like a little wheel route. What happens on the other side of that play is a shot play for Shaheed, and he gets doubled. But even then, taking the safety away from the middle of the field, Jax is like wide open over the middle. I can see why he threw it to AJ. That's not what I'm getting at here. The point is that particular play was like, oh, okay, you got rules, right? Shaheed runs a post. Your safety's probably like, hey, speed over there, 22, whatever their alert is. And the safety's supposed to just like go. He does. What does Jax do? Does a dig. Wide open. If Jax caught it, he'd probably still running right now. And that was another instance of like, here's your rules. We're going to break them. Now teams they've fooled Sam a few times. The Rams in particular. The Rams looked like they were breaking their rules. They were like, we're about to rotate coverage over here. They were doubling Jackson in the red zone. They were doing all the right things, which is why they won the game. Pretty much everyone else has been like, we're going to run our stuff and beat these guys and execute. All that coach speak. Well, how does that work out? Jack's probably hit you for 100 yards and you lost. For real, it's happening. Jax has 100 yards every week, except for like two. He's had 100 yards, I think, in every close game. Like a couple of the blowouts, he only had like 80 or something, or like 90 something. Every close game, with the exception of the first Cardinals game where he had 79, teams have been running their stuff. So, and that's a credit, I think, to Kubiak because he's recognizing when they're getting too high, when they're like, okay, you guys are playing quarters to Jax's side. All right, we're not even going to run him deep. Here's a little curl route. Boom. 8 yards when he broke the record on Sunday. That's what it was. I think Klint has done a masterful job. I was actually talking to some guys about that post game, and it's showing up on the film too, where they're just like, Clint's really good at figuring out what they're about to be in and making sure we got something to beat that. And even if Jax ain't open, maybe it's just a check down, blah, 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 but they're manipulating stuff really well. I mean, it's really impressive. Maybe I'll double up and do some of this, show you guys some of this stuff on standout plays. But if you guys are wondering, damn, Mike, Chris, our team just going to start doubling Jax? When are they going to start taking him away? Only God knows. But I imagine it will probably happen soon because what teams are doing, I can say with confidence, is not working. They are running their stuff. They are trusting their corners. They are trusting their nickels. They are occasionally giving safety help, and it is the dumbest thing I have seen. I would have stopped that after like week 6 when he had like 700 yards to like 5 games. Nope. Teams are still doing it, and Clint's like, all right, here you go. And I thought that first play, that 56-yarder, I might tweet this out too. That's just a really good example of like seeing what they were doing on film, knowing how teams are going to react to it, changing the cadence up, and then getting explosive for your best guy. It's just beautiful stuff. That also might have been a coverage bust too by the corner on Jackson's side, but it don't matter because that's football. So yeah, my one big thing, shout out to Klint Kubiak, shout out to Jake Peets, other pass game coordinator. They're doing a really good job making it so you can't take away the best player. And like we talked about in our post-game show, Chris, I think it's going to happen. Eventually teams just going to be like, you know what? Screw it. Throw that goal ball to Cody White if you like. And we'll live with that. Throw that up. Throw that slant to Cooper Kupp. Throw that. Maybe not throw that deep ball to Rashid because that'll get you fired. But pretty much everything else, I imagine we're going to start seeing that because the whole let's play our stuff. Here's our rules. Here's my zone. This guy's my man. That stuff ain't working. It's not. No. Jackson's on pace for 2,000 freaking yards. Yeah. And that's a credit to Jax as well. But I'm letting you guys know from the film. Yeah, it's a lot of Kubiak, a lot of the Jake Peets. I'm sure there are other coaches too as well, but the receivers coach, I'm sure too. But yeah, it's a lot of really good scheming, a lot of good of like, okay, if these guys are just going to play their stuff, well, our stuff's better. Touchdown Jackson. Really impressive. Shout out to Klint. Shout out to Jake. Shout out to Jax too, Sam, all those guys. But yeah, I got to give Kubiak some love. He is dicing teams up, and they really, outside of the Rams, who he still hit for 100 yards, by the way, no one really has a good answer. The Rams have been the only Rams and Niners, kind of, but really just the Rams are the only team I think that have done anything worthwhile against Kubiak and Jax.
Stay scheming. NFL teams trying to get at me. Hey, all right,
and they can't. And no, they can't, bro. It's the most frustrating thing. I mean, we're giving advice to the other teams on this show. I guess today you did it, and now I'm doing it. But it is just the oddest thing in the world. Like, why would you not bracket Jax? I was telling Christopher we recorded. I would double Jax every snap in the red zone. Don't care. And teams just aren't. They just aren't, except for the Rams. The Rams did a couple times, and what do you know, folks? That was their worst red zone game of the year. I thought the Titans were going to copy all that. They did not.
Nope.
They
got barbecued and got an L. But hey.
Yep, and give up 30.
That's been one big thing. Coming up, we'll talk with Alec Lewis, who covers the Minnesota Vikings via The Athletic. Got a lot to get to, okay? I heard J.J. McCarthy is straight ass. So we're going to get into that. How bad is he? They called up some guy I never heard of. Matter of fact, I just started reading on Brosman. Anywho,
Brosmer, yeah, spoiler.
Brosmer,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So there's a lot to get to. And one thing, the Vikings like to blitz. How much? We got some numbers that are probably going to shock you guys, but I think the Seahawks will be ready for it. It should be hopefully a good game, but we'll see.
Hopefully,
so coming
yeah.
up,
I hate bad
yeah,
games.
yeah. So
That
yeah, with
Commanders
that
game
being,
sucked. For real.
by the third quarter, I was like, yeah, it's time to turn this off, man. This is not fun.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't fun to watch. Yeah, it was like, all right, cool, I guess. Yeah, I'm here. Let me go get some more nachos. Their nachos were good in the stadium, but yeah.
That's a plus. But here we go with Alec Lewis again. He covers the Minnesota Vikings via The Athletic. Here's our conversation with him.
All right, it's about that time. We have a special guest joining us on the pod to preview Seahawks Vikings coming up. We have the homie, covers the Vikings for The Athletic. Does a really, really, really great job. It's homie Alec Lewis joining us on the show from Birmingham, which is what's up, man. How you doing?
Yeah, pretty far from Seattle. Good. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. I had to leave Minnesota to get out of the first blizzard of the year, first of probably 40. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting up there. We'll see who's playing quarterback. But it's been a whirlwind in Vikings land, and I'm looking forward to watching that defense, seeing what Mike's got, and then watching Sam Darnold. Know him well.
Alec, how do we get here? How do we get to where they had so much faith in this, yet this guy, this life after Darnold plan guy, is this bad?
Yeah, I mean, look, and it's really every aspect of his play, pre-snap, early in the season. Now it's just everything post-snap. And when I say everything, I mean from identifying, from being able to read the field, from progressing, and then from just strictly footwork and throwing the football. I mean, if you go back and watch the Bears game, you will see some misses in that game with wide open receivers that I'm not sure if I watching NFL games if I've ever seen before. I mean, it's it has been hard to watch, frankly, at times. And to answer your question, I guess strictly, I mean, the Vikings knew coming out of Michigan that he needed a lot of developmental work physically, from a footwork standpoint. He was a big overstrider at Michigan. He missed a ton of throws to his left. He threw on one trajectory, which is 100-mile-an-hour fastball. There was kind of a misnomer that he doesn't have the arm strength, and that couldn't be further from the truth. He just throws every throw he's trying to throw at 110 miles per hour, and
which may be worse.
right. No question. Which I mean, it's part of it. And now I will say this too, Mike, and it maybe segues, but the idea before this season was, with as much development as he needed and with as young as he is, they wanted to build a team that was so good everywhere else that it would be able to mask a little bit as he got his feet wet at the NFL level. And the rest of the roster has not performed anywhere close to what the initial vision was, which has just made his play that much more magnified and pronounced. So it's been rough in almost every aspect. I mean, 2 weeks ago, Mike, in the press conference, this, it was essentially every question was about JJ's footwork, and Kevin O'Connell was walking through in detail base, balance, body position, posture, arm angle. I mean, it was like I was taking a class in quarterbacking. That's how it's felt for weeks now. And when you're doing that at the NFL level with the amount of decisions you have to make after the snap, you got no chance. It's just not a sustainable path.
Well, the next sustainable path is the new guy, Max B. Don't know how to say his last name. I'll try it. Brosmer. Did I get it?
Brosmer.
There we go.
Max Brosmer. All right. Well, he's coming in. Can he save the day? Maybe not save the day. Can he make this season worthwhile? Is that something that the team believes? I guess at this point, they ain't got no choice, Alex. So how is he going to fare against this Seahawks defense that ranks really high in almost every statistical category that you could throw at?
I'm laughing because you said he's coming in. There's no, I mean, Max Brosmer. So Max Brosmer is a really interesting one. He, at least to me, he's from North Georgia, worked like since was in 7th grade with Quincy Avery down there, Quincy Avery, renowned throwing trainer, Sean McAvoy, another guy down there. Then he goes to New Hampshire at a high school, transfers to Minnesota locally. So he played with the Golden Gophers 20 miles from the Vikings facility. And Kevin O'Connell saw him at the pro day the year before his last college season and was pretty impressed by just the leadership, by the way he threw the football, by his interactions and all that. And so Max signs as an undrafted free agent. And I'm not even going to sugarcoat this. Like in training camp, there were many days where Max Brosmer was potentially the most impressive quarterback we saw in training camp. And that's just like, if Vikings fans heard that, it'd probably get aggregated like crazy. But I mean, there were days where he's getting the ball out quick. He processes the field. And I told a lot of people, both like friends and people in the industry, this guy is a very intriguing player. And that was verified by conversations I've had with people internally. And so I think while you look at it on paper and you're like Minnesota product from the Golden Gophers, undrafted rookie, what is this guy going to be capable of? I'm not going to be surprised if it looks a lot cleaner than it's looked. I mean, obviously it can't look much worse than it's looked in recent weeks, but Max Brosmer, I think, can process the field, can be accurate. He's got a quick release. So I don't think it's a total just like laugh show where you see Leonard Williams and think you got no chance. Like I do think Max Brosmer, there is a chance he is able to move this football team as long as, the situation, the environment just does not overwhelm him. And he's a mature enough guy where I don't really expect that to happen, to be honest. So it's more optimism probably than you'd originally have in a situation like this, in my opinion.
This kind of seems similar to what the Arizona Cardinals did with Kyler Murray. Obviously, Kyler Murray's been put on IR. Jacoby Brissett comes in, and if I'm not mistaken, the Cardinals have looked much better with Jacoby. They're still not winning the games, but their offense has just looked so much better. And I'm guessing that's kind of how you're seeing things going to unfold with the Vikings, where they could still lose games, but the offense just looks a lot more better. And what a better challenge than to go up against the Seahawks defense on Sunday. So that'll be a good test for him, I would say.
Well, I mean, that's the kind of the thing is you've heard a lot of people say, like, we want Max to develop on his time because we think he has a real chance in this league. And then to now in week 13 be thrown out there against Mike McDonald and Leonard Williams and Nwosu and I mean, and Devon Witherspoon, blitzing up the CB gap, what have you. Like it's not going to be an easy task. And I expect them to try to get the ball out really quick, which is something he can do. And I expect them to try to run the football, which is not going to be easy. And then you're going to need the defense to make some plays against Sam Darnold, who well. So the formula is very, the margin of error is very thin. But I'm with you, Chris. Like I think it's going to look much better than it's looked. And as silly as it might seem on the outside that you got this New Hampshire, Minnesota guy, undrafted player, I'm not going to, the Brock Purdy comparisons are very easy to make, but when you talk to certain people, you hear certain things and just be interesting to see them.
Mike always jokes about, go ahead, Mike.
Well, no, it's Brock Purdy. That's all I'm hearing right now. I'm hearing Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. That's what I'm hearing right now. High drafted guy, not panning out for reasons that were probably somewhat predictable. Like me and Chris were just talking before we had you on. They were using JJ like a game manager in college. I'm like, okay, that's typically not going to translate well to the NFL. And then Brock comes in, Brock's accurate. Monday night notwithstanding, that was awful. But like, I want to read this quote here because this is a great one from you. This is from the director of football operations for the East West Shrine Bowl. Eric, give me Eric's last name. How you say this? Galco. Okay, cool. That one is like how it's pronounced, how it looks. He said, looks like in August, he said, I'll be really surprised if Max does not start games in the NFL early. It's not as crazy as it sounds. Max is going to run the offense at a high level. He's not going to miss throws he shouldn't miss. He's going to trust the offense. Now that's end quote. That second to last line, I'm glad you put that was in August because boy, does that sound like JJ McCarthy shade with the timing of it.
It really, I mean, and I obviously wrote it for Tuesday morning, but I might have also been in the story I wrote in August, so I can verify that. And I will say, Galco went further than that. I'm just trying, I just want to, Eric Galco, the East West Shrine Game, have a lot of respect for him. Don't want, Max Brosmer is an undrafted quarterback from New Hampshire, Minnesota. But I mean, no, like seriously, I mean, you can go and it's silly to bring this up. And so I hesitate in some ways, but in the preseason, Brosmer started a game against the Titans, and I know they've had a terrible defense, and I mean it's been pretty evident throughout this season. But they played their ones, and Brosmer started with the threes, and he was getting the ball out with Jeffrey Simmons. I mean, winning like it was on air, and so like his ability to see the field is unlike players who typically go undrafted, and it'll be interesting. I wrote this, but like if he sinks and it's brutal against the Seahawks defense, not going to surprise many. And if he swims, then probably bigger questions are going to have to be asked as JJ McCarthy returns from the being in the concussion protocol.
How bad do things have to get where Jordan Addison doesn't get a catch in a game?
Crazy. I mean, it's been in many ways like Jordan Addison hasn't, existed. And one of the wildest aspect of it is in training camp, he was by far and away the best play. Now, Justin Jefferson was hurt during training camp, but Jordan Addison was far and away the most explosive, talented player in Vikings training camp. And his production has been just beyond lackluster, as has Justin Jefferson's. Like, I've got friends texting me if they should drop Justin Jefferson in fantasy. Some of the most absurd, questions to be getting asked at this point. But yeah, I mean, that's really the thing. This team is built so much to throw the football, and they haven't been able to do it. And it's affected everything else. It's affected the rhythm. It's affected the confidence. It's affected just the joy, I think, that everybody internally has had. And that's, at 4-7, that's why the year has been one of the most disappointing in a Vikings franchise that has many, many, many disappointing seasons. That's just kind of what it's been.
I have an over-under for you regarding Justin Jefferson. We'll get that in a few minutes here. But fun fact, Justin Jefferson this season, Mike helped me out with this because I was just going to give a fancy stat that he hasn't had 100 yards since week 5. But Mike said, Chris, let's dig a little deeper. Justin Jefferson hasn't had 100 yards in the United States this season. And why do I bring that up? Because, on September 28th, they played the Steelers in Ireland. October 5th, the following week, they played the Cleveland Browns in London. Is Justin Jefferson going to get 100 yards this season? Is he going to get 100 yards versus the Seahawks? I mean, my goodness, that is incredible.
I don't know if he'll get 100 against the Seahawks. I would bet on that guy to get 100 this season because I know
in the U.S.
I know how much in the U.S. I know how much he's channeling his rage into trying to perform. So yeah, the interesting, and I said this to you, Mike, like he and Justin, we talked about JSN and how, he's been blown away by what JSN has been able to do this entire year. And you can, like, Justin, thing about Justin is he doesn't care as long as the team is winning. Like, he really, if Justin Jefferson has 3 catch 50 yards and the Vikings win 17-16, he's going to go home and be okay with that. It just kind of compounds, obviously. It compounds, obviously, when the team's not winning.
How much I watch the Vikings games when I can, and it seems like we are very close to Justin Jefferson becoming AJ Brown. Just from a temperament standpoint, how long do you think JJ can be? I mean, he's let his frustrations out, but it seems to be like a little bit more zen when he's comes off the field. How long do you think that sustains if this doesn't turn around?
Yeah, look, it's really not his nature to be that way. Like, I'd be pretty surprised publicly, especially in the media, if he ever really, lost it or went off. Like after Sunday in Green Bay, he was essentially like, I'm beyond frustrated. What else can I say? I say this every week. And I just don't, again, publicly, I just don't expect him to take it further than that because his whole ethos really is, I give it everything I've got. I love the game. I'm a team guy. And I just don't expect him to really shift and move off of that. But there's no question that, I mean, they're against the Bears 2 weeks ago, he jogged off the field and almost threw his helmet. And I mean, that's just something you don't see from this guy. And I get it, because his standard, again, is winning. His standard is being in the Hall of Fame. And he doesn't shy away from talking about those things. Like, and this is a guy who's won in his past. He won with Joe Burrow at LSU. Like, it's what he's used to. It's what he won in high school. It's what he's used to doing. And so, and he's performed with Kirk Cousins, with Nick Mullins, with Sam Darnold, with a ton of different quarterbacks, and has made it work. And this is the first time really where he performed earlier this year with Carson Wentz in Europe, and it just hasn't been able to work with JJ McCarthy.
Poor JJ. Jefferson, not I guess poor McCarthy too there. That's just, I mean, I used to call Justin the most quarterback proof receiver because of what you just mentioned. That 4th and 18 play is just embedded in the brain here up in Buffalo. It's just like, throw the ball up and there's a chance he'll bring it down. It's just really, I mean, the Seahawks were putting the straps on. Chris knows this. They're putting the straps on receivers last year going in that game against the Vikings. And then Justin I think had 144 yards and 2 touchdowns or something like that against the defense that had been playing really well. It just couldn't stop this guy. So I mean, kudos to, I think Justin is showing his value to the franchise. Obviously they know he's valuable, but the fact that he is not on social media, the fact that he is not leaking to Jordan Schultz that he's frustrated or whatever, the fact that he doesn't have a bunch of cryptic Instagram story messages or whatever, that's worth an extra $10 million a year.
No question.
As frustrated as he is.
I think like it should be praised too, because it is rare in situations like these. And really, Mike, like the Vikings are fortunate because this could be a lot messier if he were to be out. And Jordan Addison, to his credit, I mean, I know he's young and he's had his own off the field situations, but he too has just been pretty quiet throughout all of it. So I mean, it is tough. Justin Jefferson said a few weeks ago, like, I don't have the joy that I'm used to having. And I mean, his whole brand is like the guy who kids love because of the way he acts and the way he looks and the way he plays. So yeah, it's tough to watch.
I want to look at your defense because that's one thing that might be the saving grace for this team is how well they've played this season. And one thing that I looked up was I want to see how much they were blitzing. And my God, their blitz rate is at 45.6%. My goodness. And the Rams, they showed that if you get after Sam Darnold, he might make some mistakes. Fortunate for the Rams, he made 4 of those, 4 interceptions, that is. Do you foresee nothing changing in that regard? The Minnesota Vikings are coming to Seattle, and they are going to send blitzing. They're going to blitz Sam all day.
Yeah, I mean, telling Brian Flores not to blitz would be like telling Santa not to give out presents. It's not. I mean, it's not happening. This is who this guy is. This is what he does. He said today. He's like, I had a great relationship, Sam, love Sam, but we will blitz him. he said that. So yeah, I mean, and you'll see it. I mean, from everywhere. It's edge pressure. It's Eric Wilson coming up the gut. I mean, they did against Jared Goff 3 or 4 weeks ago. I mean, it was just like crazy stunts up the middle every single snap, essentially. So, and they took Jahmyr Gibbs out of the game because he couldn't protect it. So, yeah, it's what they do. If they have Jonathan Grenard back, I think that would be massive. He's one of the more underrated edge rushers probably in the NFL, and he's missed the last 2 games. And yeah, I mean, defensively, the front, they invested a lot in the front. The interior guys, Javon Hargrave and Jonathan Allen, have been goodish, but not at the level that they probably expected and hoped they'd be at. And then the back end, they've got some guys, but it just hasn't been disruptive enough as a unit. Like they needed this defense to be a top 3 unit forcing turnovers, and that's really what they've lacked, is they have not forced turnovers remotely close to the level they have over the last couple of years. And that's kind of affected them. It just doesn't feel like I was watching some Seahawks defense earlier, and I know the Seahawks are exceptional, but the team speed and the juice specifically on the back end, just is at a level that doesn't compare to what the Vikings have right now.
Let's see here. I got a stat for you guys. Oh wow. Vikings only have 9 turnovers?
Exactly.
Jesus Christ. That is 27th ahead of only the Giants, the command. Oh my god. The Jets have 1 turnover? Oh boy. Oh,
that's not good.
No, that's awful. So I got another one. What were we talking about? Oh, blitzing. That's right. So yes, Brian Flores is the sicko. We love him on this show. So EPA per drop back against the blitz. Here's probably where the game is won and lost, or if it's going to be won, this is how the Vikings are going to do it. EPA per drop back against the blitz. Sam is 4th. So doesn't bode well. However, Jared Goff was 3rd, and you mentioned they got to him. Turnover percentage, though, against the blitz, according to True Media, Sam's got the 2nd highest. So there you go. There's your shot. JJ McCarthy leads in that, by the way. Like every bad stat he leads in, it's so bad.
It's not good. I definitely think the familiarity with Sam and knowing what got him week 18 in the wild card game, like I definitely think that's going to play to their advantage in this game. The question is just, will that be enough? I mean, the other aspect is the Vikings have not stopped the run exceptionally well over the course of this season. Emmanuel Wilson just got some. Kenneth Gainwell got some earlier in the year. Quinshaw Judkins got them. I mean, they've gotten a lot on the ground. The Chargers, Kamani Vidal got them on a Thursday night game. So, like the explosiveness of Kenneth Walker would be something that I'll be curious to watch. And then I expect Sam to be pretty motivated too. Like I doubt Mike and Friday in the press conference, he's going to do much more than say the cliches he says every single week. But I guarantee there's going to be some extra juice for him with this one, just with, the amount of joy I think he's having with that group.
Yeah, ever since they had a running back named Mike Davis from South Carolina in 2017, his screensaver on his phone, he showed me once, was the tweet of the 49ers really waving him. And he had that forever. He might not anymore. He's out of the league. Shout out to Mike. But since then, I've always tried to read the eyes and the body language of the guys when we asked them, "Hey, you're about to play your old team. How's that feel?" And they're all liars. All of them. They're all liars. Gino lied to us every week in 2022 because he played the Jets, he played the Giants, and I think the Chargers all in the same year. Liar. Sam's gonna get up there and lie to us, and I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna nod my head. I'm gonna take my notes. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna tell the world Sam's lying. He wants to put up 50 on the Vikings. I know he does. He can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, and there's immense respect, I think, going both ways. Like Wes Phillips, OC, talked about it today, and Kevin O'Connell's talked about it. But when you have the season that he did, and then have the last 2 games, which were team-wide offensive failures, not just on Sam Darnold. And it was easy at the time to fall into the trap of, here goes Sam, turning right back into the Sam of old. I mean, it's a classic narrative, but there was a lot of failure on that offense, design-wise, offensive line-wise, et cetera, and ability to run that played a role in those last 2 games. And so I just guarantee, and I mean, you just know the competitor this dude is, that guarantee he's going to give it everything he's got. So I'll be very interested to see if they can keep him off his rhythm. I mean, I'm sure he's talked about it a million times, Mike, but like feet and eyes and just like coming off 1 at the perfect time to 2 to 3, it feels like that's what he's done so well. And when he's off of that, and he's got to assess the rush and the coverage at the same time, he can get a little wayward. So how they try to defend him is going to be interesting, and how he performs, I'll be very intrigued by it. I know that.
Yeah. So yeah, you are right. The official Seahawks man-to-man stance. Well, it's mostly mine. I don't want to project it on Chris as well, but I've been saying since they signed him, Sam's 20 best throws in his career are the best 20 throws you will ever see in the NFL, like of active quarterback. Mahomes, Lamar, Burrow, I don't care. Josh, Sam's 20 best throws, even some at the Jets, best throws. Sam's 20 worst throws are up there with some of the worst throws in the. I'm not even kidding. Like whatever you're seeing from Dylan Gabriel right now and JJ, Sam might have a play like that. It's the variance is there. So in that, yeah, it shows up. So hopefully for him, it doesn't show up on Sunday, but we shall see. Chris, we got our predictions Set
Got a
up.
prediction over/under. I'll start with over/under. We'll stick with Justin Jefferson, and we'll go 70.5 yards, receiving yards versus Seahawks. Alec, are you taking the over or are you going under?
I'm going to take the over.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
It's a belief in Brosmer, obviously, but also I'm just going to play the odds. So over the course of Justin Jefferson's career, over 70 yards is probably 65% plus. So that's that's just what I'm going to say. Now it's going to be tough. I mean, they're going to have to get the ball out very, very quick. I will say, and I should mention, I mean, we're going to have to see on the availability of Christian Darrisaw at left tackle and Donovan Jackson at left guard. Christian Darrisaw's absence would be absolutely massive because the backup Justin School is I got to be very nice here, but it is very difficult. He has had a very hard time blocking guys on the edge. So Christian Darrisaw's availability is critical to that statistic.
Oh,
All
boy.
right.
That was good. That's it. There you go. Politician in you there, Alex. How I
I almost
call this guy
it was
trash without
close.
saying
It
it.
was-
Yeah,
it was
that's
close.
no, that's good. You got. I joke all the time on the podcast. There's words I won't say to describe guys. There ain't no security in the locker room. There ain't. And these clips get sent around to these players and these assistant coaches. No,
No doubt.
man. I need
No doubt.
safety first. Is my motto. So yeah, good on you.
All right, Alec. Seahawks are favored minus 10.5. Give us a score and who wins. The floor is yours.
What is the over under? I gotta hold on. Seahawks, Vikings. I should probably look this up. Admittedly, I like watching the film of both
41.5.
sides. Okay, 41.5. I like watching the film of both sides. Haven't watched the offense. Yeah, 41.5 seems like a lot. I'm in agreement with you, Mike. But I mean, I don't know. I'll go Seahawks 24, Vikings 10, maybe. That feels fairish to me. Maybe 27-13. Yeah, 24-10. We'll go with that.
There it is. Write that down. Yeah, I mean, it should. I'm interested now. You and Galco, you got me hyped for the Bros show. That's what I'm calling it now. Just made that up, but I love how it sounds.
The Bro Show is pretty good. Look, I mean, it's going to be very interesting. And again, a part of me just it's betting on a guy's ability to get the ball out quick, and it's been real bad. So does it just can you rise to a certain level, and that would help. But I mean, look, I can't believe the amount of guys they have on the front. Lawrence, I mean, it was I was going through it earlier today. I'm like, this is absolutely absurd. So yeah, it's I'm looking forward to watching that team really.
Yeah, I mean they built the front up. Their O-line's pretty decent. I mean, yeah. Also the reason why I'm excited about the Bros show is I'm of the belief. I learned this from Mike Leach, former Wazoo head coach. Me and him disagreed on a lot of things. But one thing that I found very interesting was he was like, you just can't teach accuracy. Like he was like, just give me an accurate quarterback. I don't need him to have a hose. I don't even need him to be that mobile. Can he put the ball where it needs to go? I'll work with that. And as there are some players in the NFL showing that how paramount that is. You can be athletic, you can be smart, you can be fast and run around. If you can't put that ball where it needs to be, we will lose. We are going to lose. And so if the Bros show can do that, you got a fighting chance, or like Pete used to say, I just need a guy who can throw a catchable ball. That was Pete's version. I think he got that from Bill Walsh. Same idea. Put it where it needs to be. You don't need to throw it 100 miles an hour. So we shall see. And I'm rooting for the Bros show here to ball. I'm converted. You and Galco done got me on board. I never heard of this kid before 10 hours ago. Now I'm on board.
The funny thing is, like, legitimately, you go back to a story I wrote in August, and I mean, it's packed with info on Brosmer. Like, this is not. I mean, it's been funny because I've listened to a lot of the national shows, whether it's Dominique or Mina or Barnwell, and they're like, they mention his name and they're kind of like laughing about it. But in training camp, I mean, it was good, and like for me, and verified with conversations with people, like I feel comfortable. Feel comfortable with it. I'm not going to say he's going to be Brock Purdy or anything like that. And Leonard Williams may rip his head off, but it's going to be interesting.
Here you go. All right, Alec, the floor is yours before we get out of here. We'll plug it. Anything on a plug, and you plug the pod. This will be out Wednesday. So yeah, anything. Go ahead.
Yeah, typically on the Alec Lewis show, we've got a better camera. You know, we're more locked and loaded than we've been. But yeah, the Alec Lewis show, a lot of Vikings conversation. Then yeah, work at the Athletic. It's I don't know, it's been fun. This is year 4, Mike. Love doing it. Even in seasons like these that are as much of a grind, but been a journey. Covering this team, and it's going to be probably moving forward to see how they kind of course correct a little bit. So yeah, that's about it. Looking forward to getting to Seattle. And I love that stadium, one of my favorites to do. So looking forward to it. Should be fun.
Nice.
All right, thank you, Alec. Thank you guys for tuning into the Seahawks Man to Man podcast, powered by Blue Wire. Shout out to the new company. Make sure you like, subscribe, rate, review, comment, reshare, repost on our YouTube channel, Instagram, TikTok, everything the kids are on. Press the good buttons. We really appreciate it. We'll come back to you with our film show later in the week, and then our post-game show breaking down Seahawks Vikings will drop Monday morning. Enjoy your week. Happy holidays, all that good stuff. We'll talk to you guys later. Peace.